And I'm about to admit everybody in the waiting room. Thank you for joining this morning. For our last Spark session, we will begin the Spark stakeholder comment period momentarily. Thank you for joining today's Spark session and stakeholder comment period. We will begin the stakeholder comment period momentarily. The Department of Cannabis Regulation is recording this meeting by audio and visual means. By continuing with this meeting, you consent to this recording and acknowledge that the Department of Cannabis Regulation owns the recording and may use or reproduce it in any manner it deems necessary. If you do not consent to being recorded, please discontinue your participation in this meeting. Hello, good morning, and thank you all for joining us today. My name is Raina Plummer, and I am the Public Relations Specialist for the City of Los Angeles Department of Cannabis Regulation. Welcome to today's last Spark session. On April 20th, 2021, we launched Spark, a multifaceted program that lets the community engage with DCR through a variety of ways. At the end of this initiative, we'll be compiling a report. With every comment, survey, and feedback received, this report will provide recommendations that will help shape future cannabis policy in the City of Los Angeles. Prior to the beginning of this Spark session, we'll start with our stakeholder comment period and allow stakeholders to provide comments orally. Our Spark partner, NBI Media, will be managing this effort before we start the Spark session. I will now pass the presentation over to NBI Media for our stakeholder comment period.
Thank you, Ms. Plummer. Excuse me, at this time, if anyone would like to make a 2-minute comment, please raise your hand in the Zoom, or if you're calling by phone, you can raise your hand by doing *9, followed by *6 to unmute yourself. Okay, I see we have our first hand, Darwin Butler. And you might need to unmute yourself if you're calling in by doing *6. Mr. Butler, you're unmuted, but you might need to unmute yourself. Okay, at this time, we'll go on to the next person. Commissioner, Ms. Gorman?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
To have a greater social impact, I recommend that DCR define and introduce a new social equity tier 4, and make accommodations for those who meet a broader group of social equity criteria to include residents with a proven history of social and economic oppression, and or residents with barriers to or within employment, those adversely impacted by agents of the state, and those who have suffered prolonged systemic racism and unfair discrimination, as evidenced by records that demonstrate a history of struggle in achieving generational wealth, assets, and livable wages within the incorporated LA area. I also recommend that DCR work with the WorkSource Center, namely My WorkSource Center, PACE LA, along with other community support networks to reach and assist a diverse group of Tier 4 social equity applicants and transitional social equity workers who can fit the social equity model. In other words, make an effort to bring more of us to the table. In keeping with my earlier suggestions, I must emphasize the need for social equity business classification and allowances for businesses that offer their transitional workers shares of the company's profits based on receipts and hours worked. DCR should use their powers and connections with the city to encourage right of entry permits to unused city properties that can be put to use by social equity businesses as social equity licensees. On that note, DCR should integrate the current program with community reinvestment efforts that support greater social equity development in other areas of the private sector. My last recommendation is for DCR to reach me. I'm not difficult to find. Invite me to be a part of the social equity licensees and help me create a fully licensed, successful cannabis business model. Positive predation. And I also want to note that the transfer of ownership under mandatory requirement section 104.11A seems to contradict social equity voting rights and control section 4, rights of a surviving spouse. I think clarification is needed. And that is my time.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to try to go back to Mr. Butler, Darwin Butler. He might be having an issue on his end, but he's unmuted on our end. If anyone else would like to make a comment at this time, please raise your hand so you can be acknowledged. Again, please raise your hand in the Zoom feature or use *9 on your phone to raise your hand, followed by *6 to unmute yourself.
Again, good morning and welcome to our last Spark session. We are currently in our stakeholder comment period, which will last from 9 to 10 a.m. Please feel free to raise your hand or use *9 if calling from a phone to provide stakeholder comment. Feel free to state your name if interested. Participants have 2 minutes. Participants are allowed to speak once per stakeholder comment period. And comments should remain on topic. And again, this is our last Spark session and last stakeholder comment period. So we want to hear from you guys. I think I see some hands.
Yes, it's still Mr. Butler's hand that's up, and excuse me, he is unmuted, but I don't know if maybe he's having an issue. I do have another person who just popped up, a person with the phone number ending in 8187. You are unmuted and the floor is yours.
Yes, good morning. Yeah, this is Darwin Butler. I had to call in. I've been trying to talk with you all about finding locations, 420 friendly landlords. The rent that I have ran into is exorbitant, and I think that the department needs to formulate a list of 420 friendly landlords that we can rent from. You all started off with the 3 years of free rent or assistance or mentorship from tier threes. None of this is materialized. I've been looking for a place now ever since the initial 800. Now you all then expanded it to 1,600 people. And then now we got all these rich folks or high talking people coming in, want to expand it even further. You know, so there is a lot of issues, but finding landlords to rent is one of the main ones. So I really appreciate if you all could help us find landlords so that we can get the process started, because I'm ready to go. I just need to find a place. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I really appreciate it. If anyone else would like to make a comment, the floor is open at this time for you to make a 2-minute comment. Please raise your hand so we can call on you. And it looks like we have another caller. There's no name. It just says iPhone. So iPhone, the floor is yours. You are unmuted and you will have 2 minutes.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Gio Blaine. I'm a current social equity applicant that's in local compliance with the city. It's been about almost a little over a 3-year process for me. I'm pretty sure a lot of these questions and stuff that are coming are just kind of coming from a standpoint. We're kind of like the first ones going through the program. So the kinks definitely have to be worked out. I'm assuming at some point that you guys will have a tutorial outside of just just out of information that will, maybe a video tutorial that will show people from the from A to Z how to go through the social equity process of not only doing the application, getting a license, and find just things that just makes things a little bit easier for some of the applicants. Just fortunately, my investor group, they've been able to pay the rent of where we potentially would be opening up. But I just think it would behoove everybody now in DCR, but the city, just to show, give a video tutorial of how to go through the process of starting of filling out your application and all the process, and really like go over the things that the pros and cons of what will happen during that process. That's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you for your time and your comment. We appreciate hearing from you.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
And again, this is our last Spark session and stakeholder comment period. So please feel free to leave a comment during this time. If you would like to make a comment, please raise your hand or use *9 if dialing from your phone. Feel free to state your name. Everybody has 2 minutes to speak. And then we will be collecting all of these comments and compiling them into a report. While we wait for I see a hand.
Yes, it looks like it's, Zoom user. You will be unmuted and you will have exactly 2 minutes.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Alex.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I'm creating a platform which our goal is to provide crypto lending to the cannabis community. And my question was, have you guys, up in the those levels, upper levels, have discussed any integrations or any lending options to up and starting companies that might need some lending? Have you guys heard anything of that?
Well, sir, at this time, this is just a general comment period, but what I'd love for you to do is if you have additional questions to visit our virtual meeting room that can be found through the website, and we have a comment box and you can actually put a comment or question there.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, more than anything, I just wanted to kind of, hear what folks are challenges that folks are having as they try to navigate the process with funding. That becomes a difficult process or task, if you would, for folks that are trying to get into business. But I will do that. I'll go ahead and I'll visit this virtual room. I appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate you as well. If anyone else would like to make a comment, now's the time. This is our last Spark session. This is Spark session number 8. And we'll be going into our breakout rooms in approximately 40 minutes. So at this time, the floor is yours and open.
And while we wait for the next hand, I know you just mentioned this, but we still have the virtual meeting room open and available for people to drop into and get some great information. The Spark sessions are updated on there, so you can go back and look at our past sessions. We have resources available. We'll be getting in the next few days, hopefully we'll be getting the whiteboards from the past sessions up there as well. And we have some other great things coming that I'll share in just a moment. But I just want to remind people to access the virtual meeting room. You can go to cannabis.lacity.org, and then you simply go to the Spark landing page. And then once you're on the Spark landing page, you can click enter here, and that will allow you to go into the virtual meeting room. And that's where Ms. Smith was speaking about the comment box. So again, this is our last Spark session and our last stakeholder comment period. We want to hear from you guys. So please let us know if you have any comments. Everybody has 2 minutes to speak. Feel free to state your name. Again, this is our last Spark session and our last stakeholder comment period. So we want to hear from you. And if you've previously attended one of our Spark sessions on breakout rooms and you have notes or thoughts or additional comments based on the last few topics, feel free to give us those notes and comments here as well. And
I see that we have another hand. Well, you know, it looks like it might be the same person. Zoom user, is this the same person that just spoke? I'm not sure if someone else has the same handle.
No, it's the same person. I was wondering what other sessions are coming up. I try to attend, the previous sessions, but I unfortunately, because of work, I couldn't. So I joined this one that's on the weekend.
Oh,
Is there-
you know what? This is the last one. We've had 8 of them, and this is the last one, but I would just let you know to just visit the virtual meeting room because you can find all of the content there. We have posted all of the previous videos, and we will be making updates as we move forward through probably mid-July. So that will catch you up and you'll be able to kind of engage and see exactly what took place. And then if anything kind of sparks you to have any further comment or question, you can go to our comment box. And we also have a couple of surveys there that we'd love for you to take just to get insight as to what you feel DCR can do to kind of implement change. So again, we've got the previous 8 sessions. We have the comment box and we have a couple of surveys. So I think that we'll be able to catch up on everything that you need. And for anyone else that's new in this last Spark session, the website is cannabis.lacity.org. And when you go there, you'll be able to see everything about DCR, including information on the Spark program and SEED.
And while we wait for the next hand, I do want to let people know that inside of the virtual meeting room, we do have Spark surveys. And I want to let everybody know that we will be adding 2 additional Spark surveys this coming Monday. These Spark surveys are shorter than the previous. They're all no more than, I think, 8 questions each. There's 2 that we will be adding, and we have extended the length of time that the Spark sessions, the Spark surveys will be available. The Spark surveys will be available now through July 16th. So again, we've extended the Spark surveys, so about 2 weeks. So that gives everybody more time to fill out. We've created these 2 shorter surveys, and we created these surveys based on what we've been hearing and additional feedback that we're trying to get. So again, all the input that we've been getting is helping to shape how we're communicating and how we are working with you guys. But again, we have added these 2 shorter Spark surveys that will be available on Monday. And then all of the Spark surveys will be available through July 16th. And I think I see a hand.
Yes, it is Ms. Scott. Ms. Scott, you'll be unmuted and you will have the floor for 2 minutes.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Evelyn, and I represent the Green Paradise. I'm also a member of the Social Equity Owners and Workers Association. On behalf of our community and business, we would like to see the DCR engage more with the community. That means responding to emails, actually taking calls, and taking action, not just talking, but make actual factual change. If social equity was a priority, more licensees would have temporary approval, especially after years of waiting on this program to launch. Community reinvestment is needed immediately, as well as expedited processing. We are delighted to be a part of the cannabis industry, shaping the future for people of color in Los Angeles. This will go a long way in supporting our community of diverse and hardworking entrepreneurs. We feel incredibly lucky to be in a community where the role of cannabis is seen as essential in shaping our society and culture. Thanks so much for having these sessions. We look forward to more engagement from the DCR, as well as funding to help small cannabis businesses owners such as myself and my team. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And we sure appreciate hearing from you during these past couple of weeks. So thank you very much for being a part of the process.
Thank you.
If anyone else would like to make a comment at this time, the floor is open. Please raise your hand, or if you're calling from an outside line, use *9 to raise your hand, followed by *6 to unmute yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Yes, we really have been enjoying hearing from the community these past Spark sessions. This is the last Spark session and then our last stakeholder comment period. And so we are looking forward to getting additional comments from you guys. And then we'll, of course, go into this session and into the breakout rooms. Today's topic is on community impact. We have a lot of great discussion points to bring up. As you guys saw last session, we always have a great attendance and great engagement. And so I know we'll for sure get some great comments from you guys during the session. And I do want to remind everybody that, as I was just saying, our Spark surveys are still available on the virtual meeting room. We have 2 up now. We'll be adding 2 more on Monday, and these 2 new Spark surveys will be shorter, no more than, I think, 8 questions is the longest one that we have. And the Spark surveys will be available through July 16th. So we've extended the amount of time that all 4 surveys will be up on the virtual meeting room. And so look out for an email as well with links to these new surveys. Again, we truly love getting your feedback. And I know I for sure have loved seeing the recommendations come in through the comment box and through and what people have been putting on the surveys. And we are in our stakeholder comment period until 10 a.m. And guests have 2 minutes to speak if they would like to. If you want to speak, feel free to raise your hand. This is, again, our last stakeholder comment period. And so we really want to hear from you guys. If you're calling from a phone, feel free to use *9 or use the raise hand function of the Zoom feature.
And I see that we have another hand raised. It's a person calling in with a phone number with the last 4 digits of 3379. You will be unmuted and the floor will be yours.
Hello, this is me.
It's you. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak with everyone's permission. I believe it seems like I don't know if it was intentionally or not, but big business and big money is who has been profiting from all this, from the legalization of cannabis. And then, I mean, I guess that's just the American way and whatnot, but I believe it should be decentralized, and everybody who's on the 1600 who made it, the social equity applicants should all get their just dues. The DCR should be making an effort to get everybody on, the 1600 up and going. I don't know if they have any intention of doing that or, what their plans are. But, like those 1600s, if they're not going to be set up with a business, I believe they should be compensated somehow, some kind of restitution or, what's that word I'm looking for? Yeah, reparations or something, if you don't have, if the DCR doesn't have any intention of legalizing everybody and, getting them set up with a business. I'm sure a lot of people would even, would just take a sum of money or whatnot, instead of dealing with, with the business and having to run a business and getting it set up and whatnot. So that might be an option for, just a suggestion. Thank you. Thank you. I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Thank you for your comment. We have approximately 30 minutes left before we go into our breakout session. So at this time, the floor is yours if you'd like to make a 2-minute comment. Again, if you're calling from your phone, please use *9 to raise your hand, followed by *6 to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Ms. Smith, again, and thank you for those who have been giving us their comments this morning. It's kind of bittersweet. This is our last Spark session, so it's been a great time just hearing from you guys and really being able to connect and get feedback from you guys. And I'll let go ahead and pass it back over to Ms. Smith for this hand that we see.
Thank you very much. So next up we'll be hearing from Gary James. Mr. James, you're unmuted and the floor is yours.
How you doing? I just want to thank you guys for letting me speak and setting up these sessions. What I wanted to ask, I wasn't able to participate in any of the prior sessions. Are those going to be available to review somewhere online at a later date?
Yes, sir. They're available right now. If you go to our website, which again is cannabis.lacity.org. And if you go there, you'll be taken to our web page. And if you scroll down a bit, you'll see where it says Spark. And if you click there, it's going to let you enter our virtual meeting room. And there you'll find all of the content from the previous 7 sessions, as well as a lot of other interactive stations, including a comment box and a survey area. So if you go there, you'll be able to see all the other 7 sessions in their entirety.
And that was cannabis.lacity.org.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You as well.
Any other comments at this time? Please don't be shy. Feel free to raise your hand. We'd love to hear from you. Anything you'd like to comment on regarding DCR, cannabis. We're not answering specific questions at this point, but we'd love to hear from you. It looks like we have a new hand. It is Lewis's iPhone. So Lewis, we're going to unmute you and allow you to speak.
And I appreciate this opportunity. And I want to thank the city of Los Angeles for giving the stakeholders an opportunity to speak their minds. And I just wanted to kind of give you guys some fortitude or backbone in moving this process forward. You guys chose the word equity. And equity means something totally different than equality. And equity means basically where we end up at the end equal, not equity or equality, an opportunity for it. Equity is actually putting the work in to make sure that this is successful and that the 1,600 end up where the 188 are. That's the whole mission statement. And so you guys, I'm not mad at you in the bureaucracy you're creating, but put some stakeholders in the room. Ms. Brown and Ms. Packard, I know you already know the names of the people. I could give you first names like Evelyn and Brandon and Madison and Kika. Put them in the room. Those are the people that are actually doing the work for equity, not equality. So I just want you guys to understand this is an experiment. So there's room to fail. They're going to give you an excuse if you fail. But we don't have an excuse. It's our only opportunity. So I wish you guys would really look at what you're creating and the people you have running it. I'm not going to say you don't have a clue, but I'm just going to say you need help in moving it forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you guys for joining us this morning. And this is our last Spark session and last stakeholder comment period. Today's Spark session will be focused on community impact, and we'll be speaking about some of these things that you guys are bringing up right now. I'm not sure if this person has already raised their hand, Ms. Smith.
Yes, you know what, I wrote their number down. Yes, they have spoken previously.
Okay. And so we are looking forward to having you guys join us in these breakout rooms as we further discussions around community impact, stakeholder involvement, corporate social responsibility. There's a section that we have. I know everybody wants to talk about the tax rate and tax revenue. So we have all these different prompts for today ready to go. And we are looking forward to being in those breakout rooms with you all. And while we're waiting for the next hand, I mentioned it previously that we added 2 surveys, or we'll be adding 2 surveys, 2 shorter surveys to the virtual meeting room. And all of the surveys will be available through July 16th. In addition, we are going to keep the comment box open to July 16th as well. So the surveys and the 2 new shorter surveys, which will be up on Monday, will be available through July 16th, and the comment box will be available through July 16th. This will allow for our stakeholders to really get into that Spark virtual meeting room, look at the past or the previous Spark sessions. Ms. Smith, I know I threw you off a little bit, but we have been doing these whiteboards during the breakout rooms that kind of visualize what people are saying during the breakout rooms. So we're going to be trying to get those onto the website. And so we have a lot of things and a lot of resources available to be able to come back and make comments in that comment box and spend some time really digging in and thinking about what you want to see for cannabis policy and the social equity program here in the city. And you can submit as many comments as you want to. Feel free to just drop them in. Anytime you get a thought, middle of the day, go into that box, drop it in. Again, the more, the better. So please feel free to use that virtual meeting room comment box and those surveys, which will be available through July 16th. And again, we are in our last stakeholder comment period for our Spark session. Today's Spark session will be focused on community impact. And so right now we have about 22 minutes before we start the actual session. And there will be polls inside of the session. And then we have about, again, 6 main topics for these breakout rooms that we're going to really dig into and get some additional feedback on. But if you have a comment now that you'd like to share with us during the stakeholder comment period, please feel free to raise your hand.
And I see that we have a hand raised. We have Miss Sarah Armstrong. Sarah, you're unmuted and you will have 2 minutes.
Good morning, everyone. This is Sarah Armstrong, Director of Industry Affairs for Americans for Safe Access and the Policy Chair for the SCC. Both the SCC and Americans for Safe Access will be putting out a blog encouraging people to drop comments in the comment box until June 30th. We'd like to include in these blogs a link to all of the questions that you've asked people to address, both in the emails that you send out to alert us that there's going to be a Spark session, and whatever you've sought input in during the Spark sessions. so that when we ask people to drop comments, it's not just a random event. They address one of the questions that you want answered. So if you could get a list together and post it somewhere where it'd be easy to access, that would be great. And we will link to it in our blogs. Thank you.
Thank you.
And yes, thank you for your comments this morning. We are looking forward to getting into these breakout rooms once we start the session at 10 a.m. And so we, again, this is the last stakeholder comment period, and we're taking all these comments. And I want to make sure that we can provide some additional resources for you guys. And so the whiteboards from the previous breakout rooms will be up, and we're going to be working with on getting these questions, asked and answered up as soon as possible for those that we can't answer. But again, we do want to encourage everybody to leave a comment in the comment box or take a survey as well. And again, both the comment box and the surveys will be open through July 16th. So originally we were going to close those on June 30th, but they have been extended to July 16th. I think I see a hand.
I see a hand. Yes, I'm sorry. I was having trouble unmuting. Mr. McMillan?
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Good morning and thank you. I think a community stakeholders working group should be established, and they should be used to contribute to the ongoing development of the different standards and practices, best practices that should be used for social equity owners, for workers, investors, for community investments, things like that. And I think this group should be comprised of neighborhood council representatives and also social equity stakeholders. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. We have approximately 15 minutes. We have plenty of time to hear from you. So again, if you're with us via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you're calling from a phone, please use *9 to raise your hand, followed by *6 to unmute yourself. And it looks like I have another hand raised. It's Tiana Woodruff.
Hello, thank you. Two things I would like to comment on. One, with people having social equity applicants having such trouble finding locations, especially, and the landlords giving us what we call the cannabis tax and increasing the rents for us by 4, 5, 6, even 10 times the amount of the market rate. With some of the zoning laws that are in place, which I understand, being 750 feet from a church and a school and parks and everything. But when you get into like an industrial area or a business zone where there's a few places on a, certain blocks that are available, the second one dispensary gets in there, no one else can be around within 750 feet. And I'm curious as to why a dispensary should have to be 750 feet from another dispensary. I think when round one, we had a lot of problem with that, with people being kicked out that had viable locations. And just on that one part of the zone, I just think that possibly we could amend that to being 350 feet apart from another dispensary in an applicable business or industrial zone, which will help people get more locations that are available. Because as you know, anything that's federally leased or anybody that has a mortgage on a place, they can't lease to us legally either. And it just makes it really hard for social equity applicants to find a location. And then secondly, in regards to a lot of the dispensaries that are currently operating in existence, I'm sure a lot of them would like to expand to a second location or a third location. I do propose that possibly social equity program, as we talked about in the last session, expanding the lockout time to possibly even 10 years that it's only social equity, and not requiring that these local businesses, such as, just as an example, Cookies or somebody that they want to expand. So we develop a program that's like more of an incubator where the dispensaries partner with social equity applicants. They hire us in their store as general managers and management's a position and train us. And then after a certain time, 6 months to a year, we work together in opening another location for that dispensary where the social equity applicant is like tier 1 or tier 2, owns that percentage and works with works with them. And I think that'll help open up a little more partnerships and helping us get more dispensaries owned and operated by social equity applicants. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments at this time? We have approximately 11 minutes until we go to our general session in our breakout rooms. So we'd love to hear from you. Again, this is our final Spark session number 8. So at this time, please raise your hand, or again, if you're calling from the phone, use *9 to raise your hand and then *6 to unmute yourself.
And as I keep saying this morning, this is our last Spark session, but this is not the last place for you to engage with DCR or with the Spark initiative. Our comment box is available on the Spark virtual meeting room. You can get there via the website, cannabis.lacity.org. You'll see a Spark carousel page, as well as it's on the home page. And once you're into the Spark landing page, you'll see Enter Now, and that's where the comment box is located. And we will be keeping the comment box up through July 16th. Again, we have extended the period that the comment box is open. And so for those who this is their first time joining us, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate having you here this morning. But we will have all of the past sessions up. They are currently up on the Spark virtual meeting room, so you can look at those as reference points and then leave a comment related to anything that we have going on. So feel free to again use that comment box or take a survey. Speaking of surveys, just to remind you guys, we currently have 2 surveys up in the virtual meeting room, and we'll be adding 2 more surveys this coming Monday. These will be short surveys. They are no more than 8 questions each, and we hope you engage with those. Both of these new surveys and the ones that we already have up will be available in the virtual meeting room through July 16th, 2021. And again, this is our last Spark session and last stakeholder comment period. We have 10 minutes before we start the Spark session. And we will be doing, of course, some poll questions, and then we'll jump into those breakout rooms. Some of the topics that we'll be discussing are community reinvestment, stakeholder working group creation, all of these different topics that you guys have spoken about. We were brought into one session and want to get some more information from you on what you want to see. So we are looking forward to that.
And Ms. Plummer, if I could just take a moment on behalf of MBI Media, we'd like to just thank everyone for your participation during these previous 7 sessions. All of your comments have really mattered, and we are very proud to be a part of the change that's going to come forth from everything that you guys have said or even dropped in the comment box. So thank you very much.
And good morning for those that are just joining us. Again, this is our last Spark session and last stakeholder comment period. We have about 7 minutes left. So if you do have a stakeholder comment that you would love to drop right now, feel free to leave that comment with us. And then we hope you will continue to join us in the session that will begin again in around 7 minutes. Again, this is our last Spark session and stakeholder comment period. But it is not the only way to engage with Spark. So please make sure you also sign up for our email list. We've been sending out emails to this list with different things that are happening as far as their Spark sessions. We'll be sending out an email with the updated links to the new surveys that we'll be doing. And again, the surveys and the comment box will be available through July 16th now. So please make sure to utilize those assets as well.
And we have approximately 5 minutes left. We have time to get in at least 2 or 3 comments at this time. So please raise your hand so we can call upon you to make your final comments. And it looks like I have a hand raised. Mr. Tori, I know I'm going to miss this name of Torregano.
Yes, you got it right, Dr. Brown. I appreciate you. Great rising, everyone, and thank you all on the DCR committee. And, you know, this is an historic moment. We have an opportunity to choose the right side of history. And I do think it's really important that we create a stakeholder working group, a commission or a council, an ad hoc committee, whatever we want to title it, to ensure that voices who represent the true nature of social equity are at the table. I like the idea of a neighborhood council representative, as we have started ad hoc cannabis committees with Equa Empowerment Congress West Area Neighborhood Council, and encourage other neighborhood councils to do the same thing. It is important that the community has a voice in these rooms. It's important that it's not just looked at from a top-down perspective. It's been voiced that a lot of the times, some of the folks, elected officials, or some of the folks that are making decisions don't have the cannabis experience. And that's why it's important that we allow folks who do have the cannabis experience, industrial experience, to be able to be in the room to make these reasonable, sound decisions or whatnot. And I definitely think that we should extend this period for social equity applicants, or entrepreneurs, to be able to have an exclusive market in Los Angeles. We are the largest market in the country, arguably the world. New York is really pushing to do things, and this is not a competition, but it is very important that we make sure that Los Angeles gives its equity applicants the advantage, the true advantage of what the social equity program promised us initially. And I know we have to do some retroactive work, and we're all here to help you all. And I think that's what this is all about. I really appreciate these Spark sessions, but it's really important that we really prioritize the social equity applicants as well as the communities in which they come from, to make sure that the benefits have true realized outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I see one more hand, and then we will go into I thought I saw a hand.
Okay, Ozzy, we are unmuting you and you'll have the floor.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, hi. Yeah, great call. The last call was a great call, and I think that you made great points. I want to thank the DCR and the city for allowing social equity applicants like me to have a chance for this license and or licenses. And I think we got to get back to the basic of why we started in this industry. Is for the love of the plant. You know, the plant is a marvelous, great source of medicine, and let's don't take our attention from that. And I think that people that were in the industry and that should have that chance, and that were affected in the war of drugs and stuff like that. So yeah, thank you very much, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. We appreciate you as well.
Thank you, and that concludes our stakeholder comment period. We will begin this session momentarily. Thank you for joining us this morning for our last Spark session. We will be beginning the session momentarily. The Department of Cannabis Regulation is recording this meeting by audio and visual means. By continuing with this meeting, you consent to this recording and acknowledge that the Department of Cannabis Regulation owns the recording and may use or reproduce it in any manner it deems necessary. If you do not consent to being recorded, please discontinue your participation in this meeting. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. And again, welcome to our last Spark session. We appreciate you being here with us this morning. My name is Raina, and I am the Public Relations Specialist for the Department of Cannabis Regulation. This is our last Spark session, and this is part of our Spark initiative. Spark is a multifaceted program that aims to get feedback directly from the community and stakeholders to help with the creation of reports and recommendations to present to City Council about the future of cannabis policy in our city. Spark is generally broken down into 5 key phases: collecting feedback, analyzing the feedback, creating the final report. Then DCR and Commission will develop and present the report and recommendations to City Council and appropriate council committees. From there, it will be up to council and council committees to take action. We are currently in the collecting feedback phase of this process. Again, today is the last Spark session. However, there are other ways to stay connected to Spark. In our virtual meeting room, we do have resources available. In the back of the room, we have a resource station, which will allow for you to click on the different materials and download those PDFs. In addition, we have a survey station. We currently have 2 surveys up. We'll be adding 2 additional shorter surveys on Monday. These surveys will give valuable feedback to us, and we also have the comment box, which is in the middle of the virtual meeting room. The virtual meeting room comment box and Spark surveys will be available now through July 16th. Again, we have extended the time that the comment box and surveys will be up. They will be up through July 16th. I'll now pass the presentation over to Director Packer to give a brief introduction this morning.
Thank you, Ms. Plummer. I appreciate everyone joining us for our last Spark session this morning. Appreciate everyone's attendance and participation throughout the sessions and throughout the Spark initiative generally. We're really looking forward to analyzing all of the great comments and feedback that we've received from folks over the course of the last several weeks. Looking forward to engaging with our commissioners to analyze this feedback, present recommendations, get feedback from community on our recommendations, and continue to work with community to expand and improve programming and services. We have invited our commissioners to join each and every Spark session so that we are jointly better advised in our role and engaging with City Council and the mayor to advise cannabis policy. And today with us, we have Commissioner Victor Naro joining. I'd like to use this as an opportunity to allow Commissioner Naro to give a welcome and say hello. Commissioner Naro.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Director Packer. And I first want to thank the team that's put this together, this program. I actually I joined the first Spark session, and now I'm joining the last one. And I have had the opportunity to look at the video of the prior sessions, and there's a whole team that worked hard on this. And, I don't have a whole bunch of time to list the names, but I want to thank you and the team that put this together. And I also want to thank the participants. I do benefit from the public comments prior to the Spark program session. And, I jotted down a lot of notes just now in the past hour. So I really thank everyone for your participation. And I just think this program has really created major connections and access with the stakeholders. But it doesn't work unless people participate. So I really do appreciate the participation of the stakeholders. And, we all look forward to working together. It is a thriving program. The cannabis policy is thriving, but we need to thrive together. And I really do want to thank the intentional efforts by Director Packer, her team, and then the team that put together this program. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Naro. We've relied on and depended on your participation as well, and look forward to continuing to work with commissioners. I do want to echo some of the sentiments of Commissioner Naro in thanking my team and my public relations specialist, Ms. Raina Plummer in particular, for her efforts to lead this program. And really want to just continue to build upon this momentum and the engagement that we have as we move forward. As we've discussed, this is the last Spark session, but there are other ways to continue to engage with Spark throughout this initiative. And so I encourage folks to do so that we can make comprehensive and bold policy recommendations and reforms moving forward. We will cover a host of different topics today as we discuss community impact. I won't further delay opportunities for us to go into the breakout rooms and have those discussions. Both myself and Commissioner Naro will be in the breakout rooms engaging with folks. I'm going to try and bounce back and forth between different rooms. But again, I appreciate everyone's participation and thank you for joining. I'll hand things back to Ms. Plummer.
Thank you, Commissioner Naro and Director Packer. So before we hop into the breakout rooms, I want to, of course, do some polls. So I feel like the polls kind of give a sense to our entire group about who's on the line, who's in the rooms, and what people currently know, and help spark conversation around additional information that you want to receive. And so let me go ahead. I'm going to launch this first poll. It is how comfortable are you with a licensed cannabis business in your community? And give me 1 second. I'm having some troubleshooting issues. I'm going to request that if on our team, Mr. Mays, if there's a way for you to launch poll question number 1. The polls are saying you are logged in from another device. Your polling session is inactive. It's weird. Please forgive us. Give me 1 second. And I believe it should be launched. And so how comfortable are you with a licensed cannabis business in your community? Very comfortable, comfortable, neutral, uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. So let us know, how comfortable are you with a licensed cannabis business in your community? Very comfortable, comfortable, neutral, uncomfortable, or very uncomfortable. So we'll give about 30 more seconds and then we'll close this poll and present the results. So again, how comfortable are you with a licensed cannabis business in your community? And so let's go ahead and end this poll and see if we can launch the results. And I'm unable to see these polls still, so I'm going to ask, thank you for my team. Very, very comfortable was the top result with 75%. So thank you. And so let's go ahead and go to the next poll, which is your community adversely impacted by one or more unlicensed cannabis businesses? Yes, no, or unsure. And so I'll ask Aaron to go ahead and launch that at this time. You can stop sharing the first one and let's share that second question. Is your community adversely impacted by one or more unlicensed cannabis businesses? Yes, no, or unsure. And again, we're doing these polls as we enter into the breakout rooms to kind of help frame in your mind where everybody is and what they know about cannabis in the community at this time. And so, is your community adversely impacted by one or more unlicensed cannabis businesses? Yes, no, or unsure. All right, so let's go ahead and end this poll, and then I'll ask our team to go ahead and share the results, please. And yes, is your community adversely impacted by one or more unlicensed cannabis businesses? Yes, by 64%. So let's go ahead and go to the next poll. Do you know how to identify licensed cannabis businesses in Los Angeles? And so I'll ask Aaron to please launch that for us, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you. And so do you know how to identify licensed cannabis businesses in the city of Los Angeles? So thinking about what do you know about licensed commercial cannabis businesses, and do you know how to identify those? Yes, no, or unsure. So we'll go ahead and end this one. And it looks like, do you know how to identify licensed cannabis businesses? Yes is the winner by 75%. So that is good to know that some people do know and some people don't. So again, that's perspective on as we enter into these breakout rooms. And so this is the last poll question before we start the breakout rooms. And it's, do you know how to report unlicensed cannabis businesses? Yes, no, or unsure. So again, do you know how to report unlicensed cannabis businesses? Yes, no, or unsure. And so we'll stop that poll and share results. And I believe that yes was 50%. Do you know how to report unlicensed cannabis businesses? So now we will go into the breakout rooms. And once we're in there, we will have a discussion around community impact. And so I'm going to go ahead and start to launch these and assign people. And then we'll get this rolling.
just as a quick reminder to those who are still in the main room or listening from the live stream, this Spark session has moved into the breakout rooms period. There will be no discussion happening in this main room. If you continue the discussion, please join one of the breakout rooms. Our host should have assigned everyone to a breakout room so you can join from the Zoom meeting. As a reminder to everyone watching the live stream and in the main room for this Zoom meeting, this Spark session has moved to breakout rooms. To continue the discussion, please join one of the breakout rooms using the function available through the Zoom meeting. As a reminder to everybody watching the live stream or in the main room of this Zoom meeting, the Spark session has moved to breakout rooms. To continue the discussion, please join one of the breakout rooms that you've been assigned to. There will be no discussion happening in this main room. Thank you. As a reminder to everyone watching the live stream or in the main room of the Zoom meeting, this Spark session has moved into breakout rooms. To continue the discussion, please join one of the breakout rooms. Thank you. And again, as a reminder to those watching the live stream or in the main room, this Spark session has moved to breakout rooms. To continue the discussion, please join one of the breakout rooms. Thanks.
Thank you all again for participating and joining us today. I really have been enjoying the conversations and the engagement that we've had with you. It's somewhat bittersweet, but it's the last Spark session, but we will still be in the community. We're still going to get your thoughts and ideas. So now we're going to do a few last polls before we bring MBI back up to do a Spark share. So if the assistants in the rooms want to start to prepare their whiteboards to share once we're done with the polls, that would be great. Luckily, I now have access to my polls, so we'll get this started. So now that we've gone through some of the discussion around public personal activity, we want to know, how familiar now are you with the laws related to personal cannabis activity? So what's legal for adults 21 and older in California? So are you very familiar, somewhat familiar, or unfamiliar? This lets us know and gives us perspective on how we can better serve and provide resources, as we were discussing in today's topics and in our breakout room. So how familiar are you with laws related to personal cannabis activity, or what's legal for adults 21 and older in California? Are you very familiar, somewhat familiar, or unfamiliar? And we want to know, let us know how we can serve you better. And if you do have ideas on how we can provide these resources to you guys in a better way, feel free to drop those into the comment box or into the chat. Again, the comment box is now open through July 16th. And so again, how familiar are you with laws related to personal cannabis activity in California? So it looks like it's slowed down. So we'll end and we'll share the results. And most people are very familiar with the laws related to personal cannabis activity. There are some that are somewhat familiar. So it gives us, again, perspectives on what resources we can help develop or create to assist our community. So the next question is, would you participate in programming designed to promote community engagement and community service by the cannabis industry? So would you participate in programming designed to promote community engagement and community service by the cannabis industry? So thinking holistically about what the goals of the licensing and the social equity program are, and how we can get involved in corporate social responsibility, and how we can form these policies and come together. How would you participate in this type of programming that would promote community engagement and community service by the cannabis industry? And if you are a cannabis either general or social equity applicant or licensee, we want to know from you as well. And what does that community engagement and community service look like? What can we at DCR help do to promote community engagement and community service? So if you have notes on that, again, drop that into the comment box. But we want to know now, would you participate in this type of programming? And so it looks like we've slowed down on the results. So I'm going to end and share. And so, yes, overwhelmingly, people would participate in programming designed to promote community engagement and community service by the cannabis industry. So this is our last poll for the day. So select any topic that you would like to receive more information about. And again, we want to know what we need to do to create resources for you guys, what we can do to assist you with different facets and different topics. So any topic, please select any topic that you would like to receive information about. Laws and penalties for personal cannabis activity, public health and health equity, public safety, responsible adult activity, consumer information, cannabis businesses in your community, youth prevention, how to identify legal cannabis businesses or filing complaints, information about corporate social responsibility in the legal cannabis industry, commercial cannabis activity, or cannabis tax revenue. So which of these topics would you like to get more information about? Laws and penalties for personal cannabis activity, public health and health equity, public safety, responsible adult activity, cannabis business in your community, youth prevention, how to identify legal cannabis businesses or filing complaints, information about corporate social responsibility, commercial cannabis activity, or cannabis tax revenue. Oh, please forgive us. It says the last one, you're only able to pick one. Gotcha. We will sign up for the Spark email blast. I'll figure out a way to see if there's a way we can get these poll questions. Some of these questions are actually in those surveys that we have. So if you want to take those surveys, those do allow for multiple choice. And so we'd love for you guys to take those. And I know for sure that this is on the new 2 shorter surveys that we'll be launching on Monday. So I'm going to give a quick few announcements, and then I'll bring up Pamela and Jocelyn, who will give us a quick 1 minute to 90-second rundown of what we learned. And so again, the virtual meeting room is available. You can go and see all the past Spark sessions, look at the different things that we've created. There's resources inside of there, as well as the comment box. As I mentioned, we are adding 2 short surveys on Monday to the virtual meeting room, and our Spark surveys will be available through July 16th. In addition, that Spark comment box, and again, you're not limited here. You can drop as many comments as you want, and the comment box is available through July 16th now as well. And so I'm going to go ahead and bring up Ms. Smith. And so if Brittany, if you can share, let's share the first whiteboard and try to get through that one, and then we'll bring up Jocelyn.
Thank you. I must be getting old. I can barely see the board. Is there a way you can make it a little bit big? Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. So the first topic that we touched upon was cannabis prohibition and enforcement impact. Some of the comments made were cannabis uses stigma and public opinion. Cannabis treatment compared to alcohol use or tobacco use is unfair. Loss of assets and prison time gain. Vision for cannabis in LA looks like safe operating environment for owners. Civil approach takes longer compared to enforcement approach. Creating a path to a fair market share. Social equity funds equally shared among the original 1,600 applicants. The next topic was recommendation for resources. We had Q&A sessions for each type of resource. Utilize groups like CEOWA to disseminate information to applicants. Curate a collection of law books, state law, employment law, etc., to help maintain their business and licensings and provide a physical location to work with people individually. And the last topic that we touched upon was tax rate impact and amendment recommendations. Justifying the percentages for small transactions, start out small with the tax rates, then increase according to industry growth. Increase funding from cannabis tax for community reinvestment. And then regarding community reinvestment, here were some of the program recommendations. Direct reinvestment into community by way of compassion program, offer compassion packages. Wider nets utilize and support companies and organizations adjacent to cannabis business. And children impacted by WD should receive benefits from whatever reinvestment occurs from cannabis revenue. And the last topic was purpose of forums, working groups, engage, especially from the social equity zip codes to direct funds where they need it most. Should involve randomly selected social equity applicants to allow the opportunity for the community to voice opinions to take action equally. And last, community engagement looks like direct one-on-one mentorship, licensed applicants paired with social equity applicants despite competition.
And Pamela, we can go ahead and bring up Jocelyn, because I know we're going to try to get these boards up, but I want to make sure, I know close on time, I want to make sure that she gets a chance to share a few tips from their room or tidbits from their room.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Perfect.
Okay. Similar to what was happening in breakout room 1, these were just the overarching comments. Some of the comments that stood out were just the vision, such as like model and incubator program with the city of Los Angeles, churches and homeless. City should get information from stakeholders. That's another one. And rebuild the communities that have been affected by war. For the second topic, for the resources, a detailed, comprehensive layout document of all the expectations for applicants. Mostly everybody in my room wanted a roadmap and just a follow through with what's already been established with DCR. And we would transition to the last prompt. We received more comments on with these final prompts. In the cannabis tax rates, the city should make sure social equity businesses have chance to compete with illegal businesses by lowering tax royalties into the communities. And the one that we received more engagement was the community engagement and corporate social responsibility. Some are saying a worker co-op working group, measure the progress with reports and have the community be involved in on who gets, like such as like businesses who can participate in the conversation, as well as like they can't move forward unless they have met these criteria. And so these are just an overarching of what has been shared in breakout room 2.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn. And thank you again to the entire MBI media team for helping us with this Spark initiative. I know it was an undertaking, and I know we threw some stuff at your last minute, but I think we saw a great engagement, especially with adding these Spark sessions and stakeholder comment periods and adding to the breakout room. So I'm going to go ahead and allow Director Packer to come up and give some closing remarks.
Thank you, Ms. Plummer. I just want to thank everyone for joining today's Spark session and for continuing to join the Spark sessions. It is our last Spark session, but as previously mentioned, there are a number of ways for folks to continue to engage, in particular with this initiative. We are very much looking forward to moving on to the next phase of this particular initiative as well concurrently, which is analyzing the feedback and working on the report. We will keep members of the community and stakeholders updated on our progress through our website and at the next Cannabis Regulation Commission meeting. But again, I want to thank everyone for their participation. I think we've received a lot of diversity of thought and opinion, but also just very intentional recommendations. And I appreciate that folks weren't simply coming with criticism, but with constructive criticism and also feedback on how we can improve our policies and programs moving forward, and helping to steer and build a collective vision for what cannabis policy looks like in the city of Los Angeles. Because we have Commissioner Naro with us. Commissioner Naro, if you want to have any or share any closing remarks, I'd like to provide you the opportunity at this time.
Yeah, just very quickly, thank you, Dr. Packer. And I really want to thank the team. I was able to participate in both breakout groups as an active listener, and I really benefited from the engagement. I really appreciated everyone really taking advantage of the breakout rooms and coming up with great questions and feedback. And I'm looking forward to the next stages. But I think this is a good, powerful relationship building that's happening between the commission, the department, and also the community stakeholders. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Naro. And with that, we will conclude today's Spark session. Thank you so much.